Okay, so this is everything that I got for the month of February 2022. Pretty good sized stack. This is probably gonna be the average that I get now that I'm not getting the X-Men books. Usually be like a good little stack here at the end. But fortunately, or not unfortunately, there's still one more X-Men book left to read. I'm positive this is the last one. After seeing this in the pile, I went and double checked every email I've sent to my comic shop just to see what were the last issues I ordered, and I definitely checked them all off. This is the last one. So New Mutants 24, last issue of the series. I don't know if this like ends the series completely, and if New Mutants picks up. I'm not really following any of the new X-Men stuff right now. So, but I like the New Mutants. It wasn't like my favorite book, but I love the idea of the New Mutants, like the 80s, 90s New Mutants, training the next generation of New Mutants. There's some really cool stuff in there, and some characters that I like that you just haven't seen in a long time. Wasn't quite satisfied with how like the Shadow King stuff ended the last couple of issues, but this will just be a nice little one-off story, I'm sure. Can't complain. New issue of the Goon. Always good to get new Goon. I really can't say enough about how much I love the Goon. But I think this is actually the last issue of the Goon kind of monthly. Eric Powell, I just saw the ad for it. Albatross Funny Books, he's going to start doing a quarterly book, so 4 times a year you'll see a nice oversized issue that has a Goon story, a Hillbilly story, El Diablo story, I forget the little girl with the beard that was a freak show, but all his characters ever created are going to have like little stories in there. So that's kind of cool. I love anthologies, so I'm all for it. If it's all written and drawn by the Goon, I'm sure he'll have some people helping out. Kyle Hotz is a pretty frequent collaborator with him as well. He draws the Mean Goonies too. So, but looking forward to this. Magic Order number 4. So heading the last bit of this story. Shit has hit the fan. The evil magicians are on a killing spree. They've caught the good magicians by surprise. What will happen? Will good win the day? I'm pretty sure it will. And maybe this guy is the key to it. He's a good magician, but he's also a drug addict. So that's kind of an interesting concept, I thought. They don't show him going on benders while he's like shooting up, but I'm sure he's gonna find some faith and then in himself and help save the day. But it's drawn by Stuart Immonen, so the art's really good, and I like these Magic Order books. They're fun. Scumbag number 12. I don't think it's been over a year since this book has come out. I think there's been a couple of months it was delayed or just missing, but this is going to be the last issue of Scumbag. I feel like the story has kind of reached the end for what I'm interested in, and I'm not sure how long it's going to go, so I don't want to just kind of reading it for reading's sake, which is tough when you're collecting comic books. Sometimes like, well, there's 10 issues left. I'll just, even though I'm not really into the book anymore, I'll just get those 10 so that I have the full run and I'm not missing the issues. I've done that way too many times. I'm just ripping the Band-Aid. Love Scumbag. Love Rick Remender. I'll always read Rick Remender, but I'm just calling quits on this book. Hellboy, the BPRD, 1957. Just a one-shot. Obviously takes place in 1957, but little Lobster Johnson claw there, so I'm sure he's going to be involved in some way. Even though I'm pretty sure he's dead by 1957. So kind of curious how it all ties together, but should be fun. Last issue of Hellboy and the Bones of Giants. This will be really good. The last issue was a ton of fun. Thor is slowly taking... He's not going to permanently... It's kind of like the soul of Thor is trapped within Mjolnir, which is fused to Hellboy's hand. And so sometimes he kind of comes out and talks through Hellboy. He's not going to take him over, but Hellboy can't drop the hammer. So him and Abe are now fighting frost giants and the undead alongside an army of dwarves that have been sent from... I'm going to assume Asgard. They haven't said that, but sent there to help protect Thor and the hammer, which is really cool. There's also this one character in the book who just doesn't believe in any of this like occult or spiritual stuff, but he's constantly seeing in every issue and just like, there has to be a reasonable explanation for all this. The Sword of Hyboria, second issue. Really digging this book. I really like the character that uses the sword from the BPRD, so this is a nice little kind of history on the weapon and pops up. This looks like this issue takes place in like I'm gonna say the 1920s. I don't know. I'm just looking from the machines and these guys, the suits or tuxes they're wearing looks very 1920s style. But then there's like a man bat holding the sword, so that's kind of cool. Very much looking forward to reading that. Main Usagi Yojimbo book. I say main because I got a bit of Usagi Yojimbo and I'll come back to that later. But main book, second issue of this 2-issue little run. The last one ends with Usagi and his cousin to split up because they're searching for this band of Ronin who are killing people indiscriminately. So they decide to split because there's a fork in the road. Yosagi finds the Ronin, and his cousin finds what I'm pretty sure is a demon. And so he goes, I hope his cousin doesn't get killed or anything. I really like the character. So we'll see. What's the furthest place from here? Issue 4. This is a good book. I'm really enjoying it. I like post-apocalyptic stuff, and they're slowly revealing kind of what's happened. It's not just post-apocalyptic. There's like a bunch of weird stuff. Like I mentioned, there's like all these different places are gangs. The record store is a gang. Like they live in the record store. They're the record store gang. There's a bank gang. There's a shopping mall. A grocery store gang. So it's kind of interesting. The record store gang, their house burned to the ground, so that means like technically they'll die because you're not supposed to be out at night, and they've had to go and find different places. So they're still on the run. They're still looking for their friend who's disappeared. Adults aren't around. Like there's all these little kind of questions that need to be answered. So I'm sticking around. I'll give it 6 issues. I give everything 6 issues, but I really like the last book these guys worked on, so I'm sure this is going to pick up and really take off. I'm curious though if it's going to stay as. I don't think it's going to be an ongoing because there's a special edition version of this book that comes with a record, an actual LP that has like 3 or 4 songs. I don't know how you keep that going if this is like a 50 issue run, because it's a lot of new music that's been recorded for the book, or I think they know a lot of local bands or something, but it's a great idea. I just don't see it going on for like 50 issues. That'd be crazy. Black Hammer number 9. This is starting the final arc of this Black Hammer book. There's only 12 issues. The last issue was wild. Colonel Weird discovers the it talks about how Colonel Weird discovered the multiverse, and then he meets the Council of Weird, which is a bunch of Colonel Weirds from all the parallel universes, and now he's there, they're like, we can get to work and try and prevent Anti-God from actually waking up, because they didn't kill Anti-God in the original Black Hammer, they just put him to sleep, I guess, but they thought he was dead. Lots is happening, and this is like an evil version of one of the characters who I keep wanting to call Captain Andromeda, but I know that's not his name anymore. Maybe it is. I say this every video. I know his name's changed a few times. I just can never remember what his name is. Berserker number 5. I guess is getting close to the end. This is only a 12-issue series too. It's been really fun. The last issue was cool. It kind of, I like what a book that has like an immortal character. They spend time kind of like, not just what his past life is, but what is their motivation? Like you live forever. You live for thousands of years. Like how many times do you fall in love? How many times do you try and get rich? How much stuff do you buy or consume, or just, you get bored? And his whole thing is he just wants to die. So he basically spends a chunk of the book talking about how he just goes and finds fights, wars, doesn't care who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. He just wants to die. So he's just throwing himself in the fights. Pretty cool. And yeah, I'm really digging this book too. Orphan of Five Beasts number 4. I remember reading this book, was like, I had multiple issues in the can, done, wouldn't fall behind. This is like 4 issues in I think over about a year. It's fine. It's James Stocco, who I love. The art is fantastic. It's just as good inside as you see on the cover here. But I don't think this book is going to end with Orphan finding all the 5 beasts. She's only met, I should say, the second beast, who's the chef who runs this kitchen that everyone loves his food. No one can explain why. And you think it's because you're eating other guests, but it's not. You're actually eating pieces of him. He's like cutting pieces of himself into the food, and then it grows back. So should make for an awesome fight, but it's hard to find out if there's going to be a second volume of Orphan the Beasts, or is this going to end without Orphan defeating the 5 beasts? I don't know. I hope it keeps going. And then Saga's back, obviously. First issue was really good. I actually had to go back and kind of look up some stuff to see, who are some of these characters and how they all connected, because it's been like 2 years since the first run came to a hiatus. But it's great. It's exactly what you'd expect Saga to be. It's awesome. Going back though and looking at some of the older characters and storybooks and even a couple of the issues, you can really see Fiona Staples' growth throughout the series and like her storytelling and her art. That's really cool. But yeah, these first couple of issues definitely hit you right in the feels. I'll tell you that much. Step by Bloody Step, new book. Basically this little girl, she has this giant robot that she lives with, and like she lives on the robot, and the robot takes care of her and like protects her from, I guess, little monsters. I don't remember ordering this book, so I'll give it a shot, but I'm probably gonna cut this. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just add stuff and then I forget about it, and then it shows up and I'm like, oh yeah, probably shouldn't have done that. So, mistakes I made. and then more Usagi Yojimbo. But there's two, because I also got this Usagi Yojimbo trade. So IDW now has the license, the rights for Usagi Yojimbo. They're printing the new series, which I already showed that issue. All new stories from Stan Sakai. Usagi Yojimbo Origins trades are the original run that Stan Sakai has done, just colored with his supervision. So that's really cool. I was like, all right, this is what I want. I wanted to collect the original stories, and they're in color. That's perfect. I love that. This something like this though, Usagi Yojimbo Lone Goat and Kid is older stories that are recolored, but they will may or may not. I just say may or not. They will show up in the Origins trades eventually. They just select specific stories to tell you a bit more about some of the side characters that are appearing in the new series that IDW is running. So for a long time, I was kind of confused. I'll be granted, it took me a few months to figure out, because I remember ordering the Usagi Yojimbo Origins, like, yeah, I'd like to get all of them. I got volume 1, and then like almost a year went by, and I was like, where's volume 2? And then I was reading more of these. I think the last series I got, I was reading through and I was like, wait a second, this is super familiar. So I opened up Origins Volume 1 and that story was in there. And I was like, what is going on? So I spent some time looking into it. I'm like, oh, right. These are select stories that are being reprinted and colored to explain some of the characters. This is just everything from the beginning. So this is what I want to have. This is what I don't want to have. So these I've canceled. No more of the side stuff. And then I'm just getting this book. The one thing that frustrates me about this specific cover is this giant, like, I get first time in full color, that's cool, but that's really like a sticker. I can't peel that off. And you have this great Peach Momoko cover that's just kind of ruined by that. Like they show this in the back. Like, that's gorgeous. And then you just put a big fat sticker over the cherry blossom tree. Like, I hate that kind of stuff so much. And then the last book I got, this didn't come in my stack. I actually chased this down on the side. I was able to finally find a reasonably priced copy of Otomo Katsuhira's Kawa art book. This is volume 1. There's 2 volumes. Volume 2 will probably take me just as long as it took me to find this on a reasonable price. But this basically collects everything, not everything, but a large percentage of his illustrative work from 1971 to 1989. So before Akira, because Akira started in 1983, I want to say, and then ran to about 89, 90. Which that's kind of wild to me because I was born in 83, so to think that Akira started then is wild. But lots of really cool stuff in here. You get a lot of, just obviously it's all illustrations, but a lot of his early stuff. You see shots here for, that's, if I go back, that's, Akira promotional stuff, covers he's done for magazines and books in Japan, some stuff he's done animation-wise for TV shows and openings and little like cut between segments. I don't know what they call that stuff. For more Japanese TV shows. A lot of his comic stuff is in here because he did some stuff before Akira, which it's kind of one of the main reasons I was always looking for this, because it's hard to find any of his early stuff translated. Like, obviously this is Akira, but like Domo is out of print again. I have Memories, which is a collection of short stories, but it's all in French. I thought I ordered in English. I thought I found a copy in English, and it turned out to be French. Granted, I ordered from the French Amazon, so I should have known better. But yeah, there's just some cool stuff in here. And in between, there's some comics. Like there's this Watermelon Messiah, so it's a wordless comic. That's all about watermelons. Again, commercial work, all kinds of really cool stuff. And I think, yeah, Farewell for Weapons. I think this is actually printed. I've never read Farewell for Weapons. I've only seen it. I know Epic Magazine, which was a Marvel book back in the late 80s, did a bunch of Akira Katsuro Otomo reprints. So I think this is all of it. I could probably compare this to the French version I have. But that's kind of cool, because then, hey, I secretly have some reprints of his stuff. What's really cool, though, is in the back, they've got a really cool shot of his working space from 1982 to 1986. You see his cramped little office in there, all his bookcases. Reminds me of my place, my space. And then there's also, if I go back a page or two, there's a cool shot of kind of his, all the tools and stuff he's got as he's drawing. Because again, this is like early mid 80s, so it's all very much analog. Lots of inks, pens, paints, acrylics. Yeah, but super happy I was able to find that. So another art book to add to my stuff. Pretty good collection of books. As always, send me your cheers. See you next month.